a lot of people says, and I grew up in a Christian house, two like loving, the most perfect parents I could ask for, and a little brother who's my best friend, and I just grew up going to Sunday school and doing that whole thing, but we switched churches a lot when I was younger, so I only know the first half of the Bible song, so like, if there's another book, I don't know it, like, I'm good on the Old Testament, so, like, switching churches is kind of hard, because it was hard to, like, keep up with friend groups or stay in the youth group. But I accepted Christ my first year at Pine Cove, and if you've been to Pine Cove, Sky Ranch, like, you just know, like, God is there. Like, He's everywhere, but, like, He's definitely there. And I just accepted Christ to the song Marvelous Light, and that song is just such a testament to me. And so I was wrecked by that spirit then. And going through middle school, I had that joy initially, but middle school kind of takes the joy out of you and puts the awkward in you. So I kind of lost that fire for God. But I did keep pursuing my career in volleyball. And my mom was a collegiate volleyball player. Everybody in my family is super, super tall. My brother's 6'5". I am 5 foot and done growing. So volleyball was probably not a good idea, but I kept pursuing it, and I became Kaylee the volleyball player instead of Kaylee the Christian, and volleyball kind of became my religion. And so freshman year, at the end of the year, my coach called me in, and she just said, well, you're too short, so you can either quit or I'm going to cut you. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I quit, because I didn't want somebody to tell me I couldn't do something. And that wrecked me. I didn't have my identity anymore. My foundation was volleyball. It wasn't anything else. So I was desperate for something to cling to, and luckily God was there. And I started clinging to Him, and I actually picked up playing tennis. I had never played in my whole life, and I was absolutely horrible. Still not too great. Somehow I'm on varsity, but it works. But I made it my goal my sophomore year to pursue God and pursue varsity tennis. And so, sophomore year, I worked day in and day out, and I got the spot on varsity my junior year, and I knew it was God, because I spent all of that quiet time in tennis. Instead of getting in my own head, I went into the Word, or I went to pray, and having Christ there, changed things for me. And so things were going so good. I was on top of the world. I was so close with my family. And junior year, I had a health scare. About halfway through the year, I complained to my mom about a hearing issue. And my mom had a brain tumor when I was younger, but she's fine now. But that was our initial thought, is it's a brain tumor. So I ended up, if you've been through junior year, you know how stressful it is. If you're a junior, get ready. So I ended up missing 23 days of school my second semester junior year for testing. And about a week before Valentine's Day, we got an MRI. And they were like, okay, let's just go to the radiologist right now. He's on his lunch break. He can read it for you. And he looked at it for about 30 seconds, eating his little yogurt, and he turns over to me and he just looks at me and goes, oh, you obviously have MS. And for those of you who don't know what MS is, it's multiple sclerosis. It's a terminal, non-curable progressive disease. And I just fell. I don't remember much, just falling. And my mom fell down, and my dad was just sitting there with two girls on the ground not knowing what to do. And that guy had wrecked my life in a minute. And I remember walking out from there and I felt someone waffling with my hand. I was like, is that my dad? That's weird. And then I looked over and no one is there, and it is I just knew it was God. And I had this sense of, you're gonna be okay. I've never felt as peaceful as the moment I was diagnosed with MS. That doesn't make sense, that's God. And so, on Valentine's Day, every girl's dream, I got to get a spinal tap, and it was super fun. It was 2 days of school, 2 more days. So, we went this whole time thinking I was just a victim, and that I wasn't gonna be a burden for my parents, just this sick girl who couldn't do much. And so over spring break, we found out that I was cured. An incurable disease was cured. And we don't know, I like to think it, yeah. Some could say it just never was MS, but it And so just to see God do that miracle was amazing. And my life went from 0 to 100, like just out of nowhere. And we found out now I'm a completely normal, healthy senior girl. There's nothing wrong with me. I get to go to college. Nothing's holding me back. So that's so God. And yeah, it was so amazing to like take a step back and see like God's plan was like so there. And I'm so glad like I went through that, because it grew my testimony. It wrote my college essays, and it made it made it. I can relate to a lot of people now, so I'm so grateful for that. Yeah.
Well, given that, what would you say is your favorite scripture verse or scripture verses?
I have two that really I clung to during that time. It was Jeremiah 29:11, which is, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future." And my other one, if I mess up the numbers, like don't check me. I always mess this up. Oh, thank you. Job 8:21. He'll fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. So just to remember that there's joy to be found in all circumstances, and that He had a plan for my future, even when I didn't think there was.
Thank you for sharing. I'll give it for Kaylee. Last but not least, all right, we got Nathan.